for his scholarly achievements, having earned master's degree and a PhD in the study of religion, and he teaches Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav courses. Maharaj possesses great erudition and deep knowledge of the Shastras. His contribution to ISKCON's administration and education framework are significant, and he is respected for his international preaching and seminars. Maharaj's dedication to spiritual leadership and Vedic education continues to inspire many within ISKCON community. Maharaj was born in Belgium in 1960. He was a senior spiritual leader and preacher within the international ISKCON community, and is known for his deep study and teaching of Vedic scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam, serving as an ISKCON temple president and holding roles in ministries like the Sannyas ministry, while actively leading seminars globally on devotional services. Maharaj was born in Belgium, and he encountered in ISKCON in Ghent in 1992. Spiritual lineage, he accepted it, a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Swami, receiving his first initiation in 1998 and second initiation 1999, and renounced order in 2015. This is just some few lines about Maharaj. We look forward to learning from Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, and welcome again.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimandasya Jananjana Shlakaya Shakshan Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padai Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paskatyai Desatarane. I'm happy to be with you, facilitating chapters 24 till 28 of the 10th Canto, that you have just gone to the pastimes of the wives of the ritualistic Brahmins, and now we will hear about the lifting of Govardhana, chapter 24, that I prepared the text. You will see it on the screen. I cannot forward it to you because it's a work in progress. But I will read from that, and I think every one of you has the Bhagavatam before him. Is that okay? You have the Bhagavatam before you? Because I will ask one after another to read that, to read the translations only. So I'll be starting now. That so worshipping Govardhana Hill. I will start with a summary. That so when the cowherd men were busily preparing for a sacrifice of Indra, Krishna inquired from Nanda Maharaj about the meaning of the sacrifice. Nanda Maharaj explained that the rain given by Indra enables all living entities to maintain their lives, and therefore a sacrifice would be executed to satisfy them. So Krishna replied, "It is because of karma alone that living entities take their birth in a certain body, experience varieties of happiness and suffering in that body, and then give it up as the karma pertaining to it runs out. Therefore, it is karma alone that is our enemy, our friend, our guru, and our Lord, and Indra can do nothing to alter the happiness and distress of anyone, for everyone is tightly bound by karmic reactions. The creation, maintenance and destruction of the world are brought about by the material goodness, mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. The clouds produce rain when they are impelled by the mode of passion, but the cowards prosper by protecting the cows. So the coward's proper residence is in the forest and the hills. Therefore you should offer worship to the cows, the Brahmins, and Govardhana hill. After Krishna convinced Nanda Maharaj, the coward man arranged for the worship of Govardhana with the paraphernalia collected for the sacrifice of Indra. Lord Krishna then assumed a huge, unprecedented, transcendental form and ate all the food and other offerings presented to Govardhana. He also proclaimed the coward community that although they had worshipped Indra for so long, he had never appeared before their eyes and eaten their offerings of foodstuffs. Therefore, they should all offer obeisance to Govardhana hill. Then Lord Krishna joined the cowards in offering obeisances and to his own newly assumed form. So that is the introduction. But now first I want to go to the previous chapter, the wives of the ritualistic Brahmins. What are the lessons we have learned from this chapter? Someone can contribute, please. What are the lessons that learned by this chapter? Yes, Gauradas.
Hare Krishna, Mother. This is Madam Basis to all the devotees. So, in the previous chapter, we found that, for example, not just studying of Vedic scriptures alone or performing different Vedic sacrifices will lead to the devotion of the Supreme Lord, like we saw, for example, the example of the wives of the Brahmanas. And also, this is one lesson. Also, another lesson is that association with the devotees will lead, proper association to the devotees, and also chanting and hearing Lord's glories will lead to attraction to the Supreme Lord. That we saw, for example, in the example that these wives of the Brahmanas associated with the residents of Vrindavan as the flower selling ladies. So,
Good. The importance of association with devotees, and study alone will not bring us to the goal. That Mahaprabhu Kripaprabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. The Brahmanas were on the platform of Jnana and Karma, not on Bhakti. Knowledge became an obstacle to them due to false ego. Though externally they were qualified, internally they were not awakened. Very Vedic learning and ritual performance cannot awaken love of God without devotion. While the wives of the Brahmanas, they had Shraddha, faith, and they have bhav, deep emotion. They had love which overruled any fear, logic or convention. Their spiritual status was very high. They were in the platform of pure bhaktis. They could be, in a way, they had gopi bhav, and Krishna himself accepts and glorifies them. So they had already perfected their lives by hearing about Krishna, even before meeting Krishna. This is what I want to do.
Okay, thank you. That Satya Vasudev.
Maharaj, please accept my obeisances.
Yeah.
This generally karma kanda, jnana kanda, bhakti kanda, karma kanda means sacrifices for material desires. That is one type of false ego or material desires. And this Vedic study. That is a scholarly Vedic study, and there is no use at all without bhakti, because all these things, karma kanda and jnana kanda, will support bhakti, but bhakti is independent, and bhakti doesn't need these things. But all these things will be useless if one is not aware that absolute about the absolute truth. That is more important.
Okay.
Without the that is bhakti to Krishna only.
Okay.
By hearing and chanting in the association of pure devotees, we can develop our Drudha Shraddha.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you, Satya Vasudeva. Govinda Dev.
Yes, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Yes, Maharaj. In case of Brahmanas, they just acquired this transcendental knowledge in the disciplic succession by hearing from the Braja Gopis, from other women of Braja Vrindavan. And because hearing is a very significant component of devotional service, they just achieved the potential of devotional service in the process of hearing from pure devotees of the Lord. In contrast to the Brahmanas, who just acquired erudite scholarship in Vedic knowledge without understanding the Lord, Vedaischa aham Veda Vedanta Krut Veda Vicham. If someone studies Veda without understanding Krishna, study of Veda is meaningless. That was proved in the previous chapter. Yes, this was Maharaj.
Oh, thank you, Govinda Dev. Yes, in the beginning of these pastimes, Krishna tells the cowherd boys, go to beg for food from these Brahmins. And they go to beg very humbly. They are offering obeisances that they are begging food. They mention the holy names of Krishna and Ram. But these Brahmins, the main problem was this: they were foolish, because they were performing sacrifices. And what's the purpose of the sacrifice? That Vishnu appears, right? That's the purpose of all sacrifices. So, like said, Vedasa Sarvaram Eva Vedya. Yes, Krishna is the purpose, Krishna is the goal. But they forget the goal. Yes, but these cowboy boys, they were very, very learned. Because they were performing I think it was a Shraudhamani sacrifice. And during a certain time, they can give charity. And it was just at that time they were coming. So they were explaining them that it's you can give sacrifice. The best sacrifice is if someone is hungry, then you give food. But they were not interested. But then, when they came back to Krishna, Krishna said, yes, if one begs someone, sometimes one is refused. But you go to beg from the wives of the Brahmins. And they were immediately full of enthusiasm when they heard that Krishna was hungry, Krishna and Balaram, and they started to cook. And they ran to the forest with all the things they prepared quickly. Which forest was it? Someone remembers? It was a Ashoka forest. And they ran to Krishna. they were not fearful. And the Brahmins were fearful. They knew Krishna is there, but they didn't want to go to Krishna. Why were they fearful? Because of Kamsa. If Kamsa would know that they were associating with Krishna, Kamsa could hurt them. But the wives of the Brahmins, no fear. They just ran to Krishna. So, who is most elevated? That fear comes from the body concept of life. That they were interested in this sacrifice. It's not that jnana is bad for bhakti, but you have jnana that is anikul and pratikul, which is good for bhakti or not for bhakti. Not good. That so yes, that so Krishna wanted to test this, wanted to give this Brahman a lesson, to teach them, that to let them understand their foolishness. That and in this chapter, lifting of Govardhana, who will Krishna give a lesson? Who knows?
Indra.
Indra, and we will see also not only to Indra. In the next chapter, the chapter thereafter, we will hear that Krishna will also give a lesson to all the demigods who assisted Indra. That because Indra is the chief of the demigods. That so yes, Indra will make a lot of mistakes. We see in the next chapters. Mistake number 1 is he will thinking Krishna is a mere mortal. That is a talkative boy, he will say. He's a mortal, he thinks. That's the first mistake. That the second mistake is he thinks these coward boys are ordinary coward boys, which is not and yes, his problem is envy. That we will hear more about that in this chapter. So now, can someone read text 1, translation, please? You can read from your book.
So, Shukadeva Goswami said, while staying in that very place with his brother Baladev, Lord Krishna happened to see the cowherd men busily arranging for a sacrifice to Indra.
Okay. So according to Srila Sridhar Swami and other acharyas, Lord Krishna stayed in the village of the ritualistic Brahmins, whose wives had satisfied him with devotion. In the previous chapter, Lord Krishna destroyed the pride in ritualistic activities of the earthly gods, the Vedic Brahmins, and now he is going to check the pride of the demigods, added by Indra. The Brahmins were too afraid to see Lord Krishna, but Lord Krishna went to see him. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Nanda Maharaj and his brothers, arriving at the cow pastures, began engaging other cowherd men in the preparations for a sacrifice to Indra. Krishna arrived there and observed the men busy in the preparations. So Jiva Goswami explains that the worship of Govardhana took place on the first lunar day of the waxing phase of the Kartik month. So, Kartik month, first lunar day. That's always the day we celebrate Govardhana. So this pastime was imitated later by the devotees during the Rasa Lila. So the Rasa Lila was later. Therefore the order of the pastime is as follows, and that's a little astonishing, because the order of the pastime is different from the order as presented in the Bhagavatam. That's not the right order. And why is it not the right order? Sukadev Goswami was too much in ecstasy and he mixed it up. That is what our acharyas say. So, the order is, first there is the worship of Govardhana, and that happened in autumn. And then after that, going to Varuna's place to rescue Nanda Maharaj. That's chapter 28, or the last one we will discuss together. And then the stealing of the gopis' clothing, that's in the winter. Amanta, in the winter. And then the begging food of the Brahmins' wives happened into summer. So the previous chapter, the begging of the food of the Brahmins' wives happened later, after the Govardhana. This has consequences. It means that the wives of the Brahmins, they already knew that Krishna has lifted Govardhana. That's interesting. And then, at last, in the next autumn, next year, that there is the Rasa Lila. So Jiva Goswami states that Sukadev Goswami, he recited his pastimes out of order because of lack of control arising from prema, too ecstatic. So, yes. We will read also from the Harivamsa. In the Harivamsa you find all this also, most of these Vrindavan pastimes are also there. Yes, Govinda Dev Prabhu.
Maharaj, here is one point, going to Varuna's place to rescue Nanda Maharaj. This happened in which month? Autumn or?
Going to?
Varuna's place to rescue Nanda Maharaj.
That happened, worship of Govardhana was autumn, so it was just a few days later, practically, than Govardhana, lifting of Govardhana. Yes. So that they recited in a right order. That's Sukadev Goswami. Yeah. Now we have the Harivamsa. When the sky was clear, approaching Vraj, he saw the people of Vraj preparing for a huge sacrifice for Indra. Krishna and Balaram, approaching Vraj, which was preparing for a sacrifice, desired to hear from the cowards and who were desirous of performing the festival. Harivamsa further describes that the event took place between the monsoon and autumn, like the border between the ocean and the shore. Sanatana Goswami states that the Lord saw these activities of worship of Indra every year, but now he saw it in a special way. Previously he was indifferent, but now, when the time was proper, he saw that it was an opportunity for stopping Indra's sacrifice and lifting Govardhana. When autumn comes, the place is filled with good qualities and abundant, tasty grass for the cows. It is pleasant with no clouds of flooding. Can someone read the next text 2?
Being the omniscient superson, the Supreme Lord Krishna already understood the situation, yet he still humbly inquired from the elders, headed by his father, Nanda Maharaj.
So this is from the purport. Krishna wanted to establish exclusive devotional service during his presence in Vrindavan. Because he is the omniscient personality of Godhead, Krishna knew that the cowherd men were preparing for the Indra sacrifice. But as a matter of etiquette, he began to inquire with great honor and submission from elder personalities like Maharaj Nanda. Krishna will ask questions and Nanda will give answers. And then Krishna will speak the philosophy of Mimamsa. So we have comments of Jiva Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Jiva Goswami, that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that Lord Krishna is Paramatma, and it is he who inspires others to perform sacrifices for Indra. But Krishna is also Sarvadarshan because he could see in the future how he would break Indra's pride and lift Govardhana. Spending 7 days intimately with the Vrajavasis beneath the hill Govardhana. Jiva Goswami writes that Lord Krishna had all knowledge of the sacrifice. He asked Nanda Maharaj to explain the sacrifice. Lord Krishna asked the question because he wanted to use the opportunity, showing all people that it is fine to worship the devatas who are his eternal manifestations when he was not present. But when he is present, then his direct worship is more pleasing. Therefore, he asked mainly the elders to begin worship Govardhana. So Krishna did not like they are worshipping these demigods. They are my devotees. Why are they worshipping these demigods? So Krishna decided, I will take the form of Govardhana and then they will worship me. So that's Krishna's trick. That interesting. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.34, Brahma expresses his desire. My great possible good fortune would be to take any birth whatever in this forest of Gokul and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is still searched for in the Vedic mantras. Lord Brahma thus glorifies the exalted position of the residents of Vrindavan. Brahma is aspiring for a birth in which he will be smeared by the dust of the devotees. So Brahma also, with his intelligence, made a miscalculation and did not understand the position of the Vrajavasis. So Sanatana Goswami explains why Lord Krishna inquires from Nanda Maharaj. Nanda is straightforward, most affectionate to me, overcome with love and will never go against my wish. All others are dependent on him. Thus I will ask him primarily. Someone can read text 3, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Lord Krishna said, my dear father, kindly explain to me what this great endeavor of yours is all about. What is it meant to accomplish? If this is a ritual sacrifice, then for whose satisfaction is it intended? And by what means is it going to be executed?
So Krishna is asking all these questions, and after he starts to speak Karmavad. Karmavad is just the wrong philosophy. It's a philosophy that does not make sense. So the thing is that Krishna wants them convince them one way or another. For many devotees, in the beginning, especially neophytes, it may be a problem. Their God is speaking, and he's speaking false philosophy. How is that? Whatever Krishna speaks must be the truth. Of course, Nanda Maharaj said about Krishna to Uddhav. He said to Uddhav, you think he's Narayan? I tell you one thing. Narayan is Satya Sankalpa. He always speaks the truth. But my Krishna is an expert liar. How can he be Lord Narayan? Dus Nanda Maharaj said, I know who Narayan is. We are worshipping also the Salagram Shila. Shila is Narayan, we know. Anyway, that's the conception of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is always in the higher energy, the devotional energy, and he doesn't come down to this jnana and all these things. He remains in the highest spiritual energy, that Ladini Sakti, and he does not come down. It's not possible for him to do that. And that is amazing. But here Krishna will speak this Karmavad philosophy. And of course Lord Indra knows this philosophy is wrong. So he says he's just a talkative boy. He's a mortal. He speaks some nonsense. Lord Indra will say later. We will come to that. So Jiva Goswami states that Lord Krishna shows inexperience in order to please his father by saying, please tell me. Everyone knows, but I do not know. Why have all of you so become busy or agitated? Please tell me by whom the sacrifice will be accomplished. So Sanatana Goswami adds that Lord Krishna addresses his father with affection, so that Nanda will speak truthfully. Someone can read text 4, please.
Please tell me about it, O Father. I have a great desire to know, and I am ready to hear in good faith. Certainly, no secrets are to keep by semi-personalities who see all others as equal to themselves, who have no conception of mine or another's, and who don't consider who is a friend, who is an enemy, and who is neutral.
So, saintly persons have no conception of mine or another. It's a very high platform. So Nanda Maharaj might have thought that his son was mere a child and could not understand the validity of Vedic sacrifice. So, therefore, Krishna, he comes forward with that clever statement that and asking such questions would certainly have convinced Nanda Maharaj that Krishna is asking something very sincerely, and I should give him a serious answer. So, commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath mostly he puts in between some conversations in between to clarify it. Very nice. So Nanda Maharaj said, we are about to perform a sacrifice. We are busy preparing for this. And then Krishna, what is the purpose of this sacrifice? Who is the devata to be worshipped through this sacrifice? Nanda Maharaj replied, what's the purpose of the questions of a boy like you? That Krishna says, I have a great desire to know. So from Krishna book, that Srila Prabhupada writes, upon this inquiry, is Father Nanda Maharaj remaining silent, thinking that this young boy would not be able to understand the intricacies of performing the Jagya. That so he thinks, yes. That therefore Nanda Maharaj remained. He didn't reply immediately. There was some moment of silence. He was thinking, what is this inquiry? And that now Krishna is refining his statement. Someone can read text 5.
One who is neutral may be avoided like an enemy, but a friend should be considered like one's own self.
So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives us deeper insights, presenting the following enlivening conversation. So he does it again. He puts a conversation between us. Someone may say, as this is a secret affair, we should not tell a small boy with little intelligence. Thus Krishna uttered statements which reveal that he is very learned. So he says, those who are of good character see all other people on the same level as themselves. They do not see in terms of distinction of self and others, me and others, including friends, enemies, neutrals. Such persons do not hide any actions from me. But then, of course, then once is, but we are grihastas and cannot follow such standards. To answer that objection, he says, one should give up those who are apathetic as if they were enemies. Ujjvala Nilamani defines the tatastha, or neutral person. So what's a neutral person? The friends of the opposing group, the neutral person is not an enemy or a friend, and one should not be avoided and should not be avoided or accepted. Therefore, is included among those to be avoided. But one should have faith in the friend as one's very self. I'm more than a friend, I'm an intimate friend. So, yes. So, of course, Nanda Maharaj, he has parental love, but is also a friend to Krishna. And Krishna is his friend. But Krishna is also our friend, but we have forgotten that Krishna consciousness means living with Krishna in the heart. Have a constant relationship with Krishna in the heart. Okay, Jiva Goswami describes Nanda Maharaj's inner reasoning. Nanda Maharaj stood silent, contemplating Garga Muni's prediction that his son would be equal to Narayan in qualities. Anyway, Nanda Maharaj thinks, he thinks of that a lot. My Krishna is equal to Narayan, but it's not Narayan, he's my son. And Gargarishi, he said that because he said, your son is special, you should love him very much and take care of him. So that's the mood of Nanda Maharaj. That's we will hear more about that mood, I think, in chapter 27 after the living of Govardhana. And yeah, anyway. Nanda Maharaj stood silent, contemplating Garga Muni's prediction that his son would be equal to Narayan in his qualities, and how the boy had conquered and killed many powerful demons. Text 6, please.
Hare Krishna. When people in this world perform activities, sometimes they understand what they are doing and sometimes they don't. Those who know what they are doing achieve success in their work, whereas ignorant people do not.
That's an interesting statement. Krishna instructs us, don't be a blind follower. That Srila Prabhupada speaks about that in the Bhagavad Gita, text 4:34 purport. That, and I will read it for you. That yeah. So unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass this test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Yeah? Blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Blind following. That's to be avoided. Did someone read text 7?
Such being the case, this ritualistic endeavor of yours should be clearly explained to me. Is it a ceremony based on scriptural injunction or simply a custom of ordinary society?
So that's quite a question. Is it in the scriptures or it's just a custom, that a social thing? That so Kavikarna Puri writes, after speaking so maturely, Krishna sat next to Vrajaraj Nanda on a cloth ashan. Nanda Baba lovingly picked up his son, who was like a spotless moon moving on the earth, and placed him on his lap. Hearing the sweet questions of his son, Nanda affectionately smiled, revealing his attractive teeth, and the soft cloth on his face resembled nectar drops of milk. This nectar appeared to be washing and nourishing Nanda's beard and black hair. Beaming in a joyful mood, Vrajaraj Nanda tactfully described the nature of the sacrifice. And now Nanda Maharaj is going to reply in a few verses. We will hear his reply. Someone can read. Text 8.
Nanda Maharaj replied, the great Lord Indra is the controller of the rain. The clouds are his personal representatives, and they directly provide rain weather, which give happiness and sustenance to all creatures.
So Nanda Maharaj is explaining the logic of the worship. Indra, he gives rain and gives life to all living entities, also to the grass, that without clean rainwater the earth cannot provide food or drink for anyone, and we could not be clean either. Next one, text 9.
Not only we, my dear son, but also many other men worship him, the Lord and Master of the rain-giving clouds. We offer him grain and other paraphernalia of worship produced through his own discharge in the form of rain.
Good. So Srila Vishwanath Bhakti explains that the sacrifice is accomplished through materials created by Indra's rain, just as the worship of the Ganges is performed using Ganga water. So Shiva Goswami quotes 2 verses of the Vishnu Purana. Indra showers on earth water sucked from the earth by the rays of the sun for the benefit of all beings through clouds. Can someone read text 10?
My
The elements of sacrifice from to India, people sustain their lives and accomplish the threefold aims of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. Thus, Lord Krishna is the agent responsible for the fruitive success of instructions of people.
So, all human and non-human endeavor depends on food and drink produced by rain, not on industrious activities. Unless people are well fed, it is difficult for them to execute their duties, and without performance of duties, it is difficult to be religious. So Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur clarifies that the clouds are the root, or artha, dharma and kam. And therefore we should worship Indra, the Lord of the clouds. People's lives are meant for attaining the goal of artha, dharma, and kam. From rains comes grain, from grains comes sustenance of life, from sustenance of life comes dharma, from dharma comes effort and action. So Shiva Goswami states that this verse answers the question, how do we benefit by these offerings? Do we need Indra? This verse asks that is answering that question. So Sanatana Goswami points out that liberation and bhakti are not mentioned. Liberation is not mentioned because they were devotees. They were not interested in liberation. They were already beyond. Devotees give respect to liberation, but this strive for liberation is an obstacle to bhakti. If you want liberation, then you are not performing pure devotional service. You have a motive, a material motive. Yes, Govinda Dev Prabhu.
This is original liberation is not mentioned because they were devotees.
Please?
Liberation is not meant for the devotees. Liberation is never aspired by the devotees,
Yes.
but liberation is not mentioned because they are devotees.
Yep, that's true.
This is not well understood. Liberation is not mentioned because they are devotees means.
Yeah, that's why it's not mentioned. Nanda Maharaj is a devotee, he's not interested in liberation. Good, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Text 11.
This religion principle is based on sound tradition. Anyone who rejects it out of lust, envy, fears, or greed may certainly fail to achieve good fortune.
Yeah. That Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur explains that if you give up dharma out of personal desire, then it will not be beneficial now or in the future. But Jiva Goswami explains that the people of Vraj have no fault or of hankering for artha, dharma or kam, because everything is related to Krishna. They will use it all in Krishna's service. Sanatana Goswami brings up some objections here. He said, first, things are considered from the point of view of obtaining results, not from scripture. So that may be true, that anyone who rejects it out of lust, enemy, fear or greed will certainly fail to achieve good fortune. But Sanatana Goswami said, is that in the scriptures? Then second, just by herding cows, we are following dharma. Just by protecting cows, we are following dharma. The coward boys. Text number 12, please.
Sukadeva Goswami said, When Lord Kesava, Krishna, heard the statements of his father Nanda and other senior residents of Braja, he addressed his father as follows to arouse anger in Lord Indra.
Yeah. So Krishna will make Indra very angry. That and we will see here. He will speak about Indra in a way that will make him very angry. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that Lord Krishna's intention was not simply to insult a demigod, but rather to knock down the great mountain of false pride arisen in Indra. Of course, Lord Krishna also intended to initiate a blissful annual festival called Govardhana Puja. Sanatana Goswami quotes from the Vishnu Purana. He returned to Vraj during the auspicious constellation and saw the people of Vraj arranging for worship of Indra. And from the Harivamsa, Krishna and Balaram returned to Vraj and learned that the Kauravas were eager to worship Indra. Then Krishna spoke to make Indra angry, and by speaking Karmavad, making the devatas useless. So the Karmavad philosophy, it says karma is supreme. All these demigods, they are just part of the chain of karma. They must give karma to everyone according to their past misdeeds. They are bound by that, so karma is supreme, not these devatas. They are useless. Yes, Govinda Dev Prabhu.
Whereas Harivamsa is written by whom? Harivamsa.
Harivamsa, it's one of the Puranas. It's in the Puranas. That who was the author? I don't know. Can someone do some research and bring that up next time? You can research that.
Yes, Maharaj.
Ask ChatGPT, but don't believe him immediately. You have to verify. But okay, good. You bring that up next time. So in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada has some more comments. After hearing this, maybe this is from Krishna book. Can someone read what's on the screen?
After hearing this, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the presence of his father and all the elder cowherd men of Vrindavan, spoke in such a way as to make the heavenly king Indra very angry. He suggested that they forego the sacrifice. The reason for discouraging the sacrifice was twofold. First, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no need for worship of the demigod or any material advance. All the results derived from worshipping the demigods are simply temporary, and only those who are less intelligent are interested in temporary results. Second, whatever temporary results are derived from worshipping the demigods is actually granted by the permission of the Supreme Personality of God. It is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Mavavya Vihitam Hitan, whatever benefit is supposed to be achieved from the demigod is actually bestowed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot bestow any benefit upon others, but sometimes the demigods become puffed up by the influence of materialness, thinking themselves all in all. They forget the supremacy of the personality of God.
Yes, thank you. So here Prabhupada offers two more reasons why Krishna wanted to stop the demigod worship performed by his pure devotees. So in Srimad Bhagavatam it's clearly stated that in this instance Krishna wanted to make King Indra angry. So Krishna's advent was especially meant for the annihilation of the demons and the protection of the devotees. 2 reasons. King Indra was certainly a devotee, not a demon, but because he was puffed up, Krishna wanted to teach him a lesson. He first made Indra angry by stopping the Indra Puja, which had been arranged by the coward man in Vrindavan. Now, according to Sridhar Swami, the Lord presented 6 theoretical points in this chapter. So this is the essence of Karmavad, that it's a false philosophy, that the 6 darshans are all atheistic. They are all have their defects, but especially this Karmavad. So 1, that karma alone is sufficient to determine one's destiny. So there is no Krishna. That karma alone will determine your destiny. So what's the problem with that? Why does Krishna say that? Because he doesn't want to reveal to the Vrajavasis that he is God. He's a coward boy. And he wants to stay in that mood. Therefore he wants to keep it hidden. And therefore he says there is no God in control. It's karma. That's all. Karma is supreme. And that's Karmavad. Karma is supreme. Second, that one's conditioned nature is the supreme controller. You must act according to your nature. That's your karma. And that the modes of nature are the supreme controller. It's all done by the modes of nature as a result of your previous karma. And the Supreme Lord, yes, he simply depends on an aspect of karma. He's also under karma, the Supreme Lord, Krishna says. So he's under control of karma, the Supreme Lord. And that's one's occupation, that's one's actual worshipable deity. In short, Krishna says, karma is supreme, there is no God in control of karma. So that's the philosophy of karma mimamsa. Text 13, please. Who is next?
So said,
yeah, please.
it is by the force of karma that a living entity takes birth. And it is by karma alone that he meets his destruction. His happiness, distress, fear, and sense of security all arise as the effects of karma.
Yes. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that he uses logic to stop the sacrifice to Indra. So he presents his Karmavad or Karma Mimamsa, that Karma Mimamsa says, yeah, there are subtle laws of nature that reward and punish ones. As you sow, you shall reap. So in the future life, you get the fruits of your present work, and that is reality. So Lord Krishna is in the role of a coward boy. He's simply teasing his devotees by teaching it. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a reason that Krishna wanted to stop the sacrifice of all the devatas, but he's speaking Karmavad because Lord Krishna, he does not want to reveal his nature as the Supreme Lord. But of course, Srimad Bhagavatam itself refutes this karma mimamsa. In Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.55. Lord Krishna says that one can understand him and how he's acting by controlling everything by the subtle laws. Immediately, when one understands this, one immediately becomes free by his grace. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7748 purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, we should not be misled by the Karma Mimamsa philosophy, which concludes that if we work seriously, the results will come automatically. This is not a fact. The ultimate result depends on the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, very clearly. In devotional service, therefore, the devotee completely depends upon the Lord and honestly performs his occupational duties. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj advises his friends to depend completely on Krishna and worship him in devotional service. Can someone read text 14?
Hare Krishna. Even if there is some supreme controller who awards all other the result of their activities, he must also depend upon a performers engaging in activity. After all, there is no question of being the bestower of fruitive results unless fruitive activities have actually been performed.
Not. So Krishna argues here. He said, if there is a supreme controller, he must also be subject to the law of karma, and is obliged to award happiness and distress to conditioned souls according to these laws of good and evil, bad or good activities in the past. The defect in this argument is that he neglects the facts that the laws of nature prescribing good and bad results of pious and impious acts are themselves creations of the Supreme Lord. Krishna has created that. So being the creator of the Lord is not subject to them. That's not possible. Fate or karma is a system of rewards and punishments meant for encouraging the conditioned souls to progress towards pure consciousness, which is their original constitutional nature. Thus a living entity discouraged from sin is encouraged towards goodness without suffering. The atheistic arguments given by Lord Krishna in a playful mood are not to be taken seriously. Scientists study the laws of nature, and they also say that there cannot be any lawmaker. They also say that. Text 15.
Living beings in this world are forced to experience the consequences of their own particular previous work. Since Lord Indra cannot in any way change the destiny of human beings, which is born of their own nature, why should people worship him?
So Jiva Goswami comments, what's the use of this Indra for all living entities? Living beings, they follow their actions, they experience a happiness and distress to their previous actions. What has this Indra to do with it? What can incapable Indra do to reverse the individual nature of peoples who have earned that position by their actions? Their nature is the cause of producing their actions. So Sanatana Goswami adds that even if men can overcome their natures by discriminating knowledge, still they cannot engage their karma. Still we have the free will to accept a pious or impious mode of activity in our life, which will determine our future suffering and enjoyment. So this verse reflects knowledge of the verses of Bhagavad Gita, that verses Karya Karana Kartrit Vehetur Purgate Uchate Pursa Sukha Dukha Nam Bhaktit Vehetur Uchati. Nature is said to be the cause of all causes and effects, whereas living entities is the cause of its various sufferings and enjoyment in this world. And 1322, which gives really the essence of our entanglement in this material world, is this Purusa Paratitori, Bhungte Paratijan Gunan, Bhungte Paratijan Gunan, that's the cause. Karanam Kunasangosya Sadasat Joni Janasu, that is what happens later. The living entity in material nature follows the ways enjoying the three modes of nature. We want to enjoy the nature, exploit it. And that's, as a consequence, he meets with good and evil among various species. So we blame others, but it's our own self that is causing happiness and distress. In Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada gives some nice examples. So, can someone read this entire paragraph, Krishna book?
May I, Maharaj?
Maharaj and other elders members argued that without satisfying the predominatory God, one cannot derive any good result simply by material activities. For example, it is sometimes found that in spite of first-class medical help and treatment by a first-class physician, a diseased person dies. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.19. It is concluded, therefore, that first-class medical treatment or the attempt of a first-class physicians are not in themselves the cause for curing a patient. There must be the hand of the Supreme Personality of God. Similarly, our fathers and mothers taking care of their children is not the cause of the children's comfort. Sometimes it is found that in spite of all care by the parents, the children go bad or succumb to death. Therefore, material causes are not sufficient for results. There must be the sanction, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, very clear by Srila Prabhupada. Can the next to read 16?
Satyavasdev Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Every individual is under the control of his own conditioned nature, and thus he must follow that nature. This entire universe, with all its demigods, demons, and human beings, is based on the conditioned nature of the living entities.
So Lord Krishna says in verse 16 that one's conditioned nature is a supreme controller. Since everything depends on one's svabhav, one's conditioned nature, why bother worshipping God or the demigods? So Krishna is presenting an atheistic philosophy. That's bewildering, right? But one's svabhav is not at all powerful. There is a supreme controller and one must worship him. Lord Krishna will reveal this in this chapter, that he will make it clear there is a supreme controller to be worshipped. So Jiva Goswami adds that the devatas are mentioned specifically to show that in spite of having the ability to discriminate, even they are subject to their natures and cannot surpass them, also the demigods. Yes, can someone read text 17?
Because it is karma that causes the conditioned living entity to accept and then give up different high and low grade material bodies. This karma is his enemy, friend, and neutral witness, his spiritual master and controlling Lord.
Yeah. So the Brahma Samhita, this is a verse of the Brahma Samhita. Yasvindra gopanakti vendra maho svakarma bahana rupa falabhajanama tanoti. The Supreme Lord Govinda awards all creatures the appropriate results of their work. So it's very clear here. Krishna is doing it. This is true for mighty Indra, the Lord of the material heavens, also for Indra, as it is for a germ called Indra Gopa. This verse proves that Indra himself is subordinate to the laws of karma. So Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita in verse 720. Kamastayatayar hitahyam prabhatyante na devata. Only those who have lost their intelligence because of various material desires surrender unto demigods rather than worship of the Supreme Lord. In fact, the demigods cannot award benefits to anyone independently, as stated by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. All benefits are ultimately issued by the Lord himself. Therefore, demigod worship is useless. But Lord Krishna is not subordinate to the laws of karma. This is confirmed in the third line of Brahma Samhita of verse 554. Karmani nirtahati kintus chacha bhakti bhajam. The Supreme Lord burns up all accumulated karma of those engaged in his loving service. Lord Krishna can immediately dissolve karma that of one who satisfies him through loving service. Now, also Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj commented on this verse, says, the cowherd boys that headed by Nanda Maharaj are eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Chandra. The Lord is using them as an example to instruct all living entities in general that worshipping different demigods like Indra with the false idea that they are the Lord is useless. So Krishna is not only teaching Indra, the demigods, but also his devotees. That he's teaching his devotees to teach others, like the daughter teaches the mother instructs her daughter to teach the daughter-in-law. That also the Pandavas, they suffered to teach us. That it was a whole drama to teach us. Krishna comes to teach us in so many ways. Text 18, please. Yeah, we will have a break at 7:30.
Shall I read, Maharaj?
Yeah, 18, yeah.
Yes. Therefore, one should seriously worship work itself. A person should remain in the position corresponding to his nature and should perform his own duty. Indeed, that by which we may live nicely is really our worshipable deity.
Yeah. So Krishna says, but what do they live from? The cows. So Krishna proposes that our work is worship. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states, Guna gunesu vartante. Our work is the interactions of the material body with material nature. Karma Mimamsa philosophy accepts that good activity in this life will give us better next life. If there is a next life, there must be a conscious soul different from the body. Then why should a transcendental soul worship the interaction of the temporary body with material nature? In fact, worship is meant for Krishna himself. But according to Sanatana Goswami, Krishna proposes that being situated in one's nature and performing one's duty, that's real worship. That worship which allows one to live proper. And Krishna gives an example by we should she gives an example how we should worship our work, by our work. Can someone read next?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, 19.
If one thing is actually sustaining our life, but we take shelter of something else, how can we achieve any actual benefit by consulting with her Paramount?
Okay. So Karma Mimamsa says that the demigods are secondary assistants to karma itself. So karma is by which we live happily and is our deity. So what is sustaining our life? That's important. That gives us benefit. So why consorting with a paramour? Why going to these demigods? No, our real thing is our work. Shiva Goswami clarifies that karma mimamsa, its presuppositions, they state that karma alone can be the giver of the results. Therefore, one should perform action because that which allows to live comfortably is one's deity. Sanatana Goswami adds that karma mimamsa rejects the inspiration of antaryami. Since action is the teacher and the controller by impressions in one's nature, action is produced spontaneously. So we do our work in our previous life and we get the results in this life. Who is the witness? Who is a upadrasta anumanta? It's the super soul, which is Krishna's expansion. But that's completely neglected here. So why is Krishna speaking so strongly? Because he's angry. You are my devotees and you worship a demigod. In the next verse, Krishna will go into specific work. So Sanatana Goswami says, if we sustain our life by one means, but try to subsist by another means of enjoyment, we gain no happiness or auspiciousness. Therefore, we should worship the cows because they support our lives. And we should worship Govardhana because they support the cows. Thus, worshipping Indra is rejected. Can someone read text 20?
The Ramana maintains the life by studying and teaching the Vedas. The member of the royal order by protecting the earth, the Vaishya by trade, the Sudra by serving the higher twice-born classes.
So Krishna becomes more specific here. Our working is our work in the Varnashram system, that for the Brahmins, the Vedic scriptures, that is their devata. But for the Kshatriya, the earth is the devata. For the Vaishya, the agriculture is and trade and other activities are their devatas. And for the Sudras, the higher castes are the devatas. Now Krishna becomes more specific in the next verse. He speaks about herding cows, their activity. So here, can someone read text 21?
Personal duties of the Vaishyas are conceived in 4 degrees: farming, commerce, cow protection, and money lending. Out of these, we as a community are always engaged in cow protection.
So, because Nanda and the others are Vaishyas, he describes the Vaishya more in detail here. For us, the cows are the devatas. Text 22, we will go to the end of Krishna's arguments. Better not to interrupt that. Text 22.
The causes of creation, maintenance, and destruction are the 3 moods of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. In particular, the mood of passion creates this universe, and through sensual combination causes it to become full of variety.
Yeah, that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, someone may object that even raising cows is dependent on Indra. In 2 verses, this is defeated using atheistic Sankhya arguments. By the mode of passion, the universe is created, and man and women unite to produce offspring. But Krishna is making the point that nature, that's our supreme controller. Why is Krishna suddenly talking about the modes of nature here? According to the modes of nature, One has different kinds of work. Brahmins are in goodness, Kshatriyas in passion, Vaishyas are mixed passion and ignorance, and Sudras in ignorance. So I lost here, back to where I am. Yeah. So why do the atheistic Sankhya philosophers say that what is the cause of creation according to them? First there is Brahman or Pradhan, and then from Pradhan comes Purush and Prakriti, and from the Purush and Prakriti comes the Mahatattva. They think that superior to the Purush and Prakriti is Pradhan. Pradhan or Brahman is the supreme. So what does our philosophy say? What's the cause of the Sankhya philosophy? Our philosophy says that the cause is Parabrahman. The Purush glances over Prakriti, and then the Purush and Prakriti, they create the Mahatattva, and from the Mahatattva, Ahankar comes in the three modes, and so on. We know the story, we have heard it in the third and the fourth canto, second canto also. Can somebody, Govinda Dev.
Maharaj, yes, would you please illuminate in extensive and comprehensive understanding about this Mahatattva and that Pradhan? Maharaj, what it is understood in Bhagavad Gita and first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Pradhan is the unmanifested material nature, and whenever Lord glanced upon him, means Mahavishnu, Karantuksa Vishnu glanced upon him, it became Mahatattva, means it became manifested, means it provided the basic material elements for creation of this cosmos. Is it correct? Or
the Mahavishnu is lying in the coastal ocean, he glances on Brahman and puts in Brahman the three modes unmanifested. And then by his glance, he injects the living entities. And the living entities have material desires, and by this material desires, the equilibrium of the three modes start to break. So the Pradhan becomes then Prakriti, Mahatattva. And then from that, the first thing what happens then is that false ego becomes manifested of these living entities and combines with the three modes. False ego combines with goodness, creates the mind, with intelligence, it creates the mind and the demigods ruling the mind, and then we have goodness. Ankar combines with passion and creates intelligence and the demigods holding intelligence. And then it combines with tamas, ignorance, false ego. And then, of course, ether appears, sound appears, and then all the elements from that are coming. Then air comes, and then fire comes, earth, and so on. So this is the creation described in the Bhagavatam. That you have any doubts about it? I must say the word Pradhan and the word Mahatattva are sometimes not clear what is meant in the Bhagavatam. There are some one term is used for the other, but otherwise that's the process described there.
so Maharaj, Mahatattva is not a subsequent stage of Pradhan? Is Pradhan comes first, thereafter Mahatattva, or it is still confusing?
Moment. I'll show you that because I made a whole thing about that. Just a moment. I have to see. Yes. Nearly there. Okay, I will share it now. Okay, now we are there, just a moment. I have to go back. Here it is. So in the beginning there is Prakriti of Pradhan. That's by his glance Mahavishnu puts into Brahman the three modes of nature manifested. That's called Prakriti of Pradhan. And then he injects time, the living entities, and it becomes disturbed, and then it becomes Mahatattva, and then it goes further. Does that help to understand that?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. So first Pradhan, thereafter after glancing, it becomes Mahatattva, after being disturbed by the Lord's glance.
Yeah, but I must say that this is the traditional way of presenting, but these terms Pradhan and Mahatattva are mixed somewhere. It's not always clear in the Bhagavatam. That's my personal observation. There's no clear definition. But that's the traditional way to understand it. Anyway, we are not concerned with terms and so much Gyan. We want to go deep into the spiritual techniques. And this course is meant not to do exams. That's not so important. It's not meant for getting degrees. It's getting to purify our heart and make spiritual advancement. That's the real purpose of this course. And that's where I'm focusing on. That I'm not a jnani. I don't know much, but I know something about the techniques of the Bhagavatam, something. Good.
Yes.
Let's stop now for 10 minutes. I think at your end it's nearly 7:40. Let's resume at 10 to 8. Is that okay?
It's not 7:37. It is now 7:37. Shall we again join 7:50?
7:50, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a pause. That otherwise it becomes too intense. Hare Krishna, if I can stop the recording, please, or pause it.
Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, my obeisance, Shri Prabhupada. So we will continue. Go back to the Bhagavatam. Oh, no, that was the wrong one. Something wrong. Okay. Now we have the right one. Stop. Once again, to be sure. Good. Can someone read text 23?
Impelled by the material modes of passion, the clouds pour down their rain everywhere, and this rain, all creatures gain their sustenance. What does the great Indra do with this arrangement?
Yes. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. As the clouds, by the influence of passion, disperse water everywhere, on the ocean, on the rocks and desert, the dispersal is not depending on anyone else. So, Shiva Goswami adds that Krishna calls Indra by the name Mahendra, great Indra, as a joke, since the clouds and Indra are dependent on rajas, on the modes of nature. So what can Indra do? The clouds are dependent on rajas, not on Indra. So before, Nanda Maharaj said, Indra is the Lord and Master of the rain-giving clouds. So this is rejected in this verse. He is not the Lord, the Master of the rain-giving clouds. It's the modes of nature, rajas. This is from Krishna book. Can someone read this passage from Krishna book?
Hare Krishna. From Krishna, the cloud is caused by the action of mode of passion. Therefore, it is mode of passion which causes the rainfall. And after the rainfall, the living entities derive the result, success in agriculture work. When then has Indra to do with this affair? Even if you do not please Indra, what can he do? We do not derive any special benefit from Indra, even if he is there. He pours water on the ocean also, where there is no need of water. So he is pouring water on the ocean and on the land. It does not depend on our worshipping him.
So Krishna says, my dear father, our home is not in the cities or towns. We are forest dwellers. We live in the forest and the hills. The Krishna stresses that it's Govardhana hill who nourishes the cows. The coward's occupation is dependent on it. Therefore, Govardhana hill is worshipable. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti. Sanatana Goswami points out that Krishna rejects the statement. Indra is the agent responsible for the success of industrious people. So he rejects that statement. He says, no, our house is the forest. Our houses are in the forest. We never go anywhere else. Since we do not depend on other places, they are our residence. Our residence is Govardhana, is the best of mountains. From Krishna book, So can someone read this from Krishna book?
After hearing the statement by Krishna, Nand Maharaj replied, "My dear boy, since you are asking, I shall arrange for a separate sacrifice for the local Brahmanas for the worship of Govardhana hill. But for the present, let me execute the sacrifice known as Indra Yajna."
So, but Krishna is replying now to that. Say, my father, don't delay. The sacrifice you propose for Govardhana and the local Brahmins will take much time. Better take the arrangement and paraphernalia you have already made for the Indra Jagya and immediately engage them to satisfy Govardhana hill and the local Brahmins. So Maharaj Nanda finally relented. The coward man then inquired from Krishna how he wanted the Jagya performed, and Krishna gave the following directions. So in Nectar of Devotion, there is a quality of Krishna which is in reference to these pastimes, and its quality is fluent. A person who can speak meaningful and with all politeness and all good qualities is called Vavaduka, or fluent. There is a nice statement in Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Krishna speaking politely. When Krishna bade his father Nanda Maharaj to stop the ritualistic offering of sacrifice to the rain god Indra, a wife of one village coward man became captivated. She later thus described the speaking of Krishna to her words. Krishna was speaking to his father so politely and gently that it was if he were pouring nectar into the ears of all present there. All hearing such sweet words from Krishna, who will not be attracted to him. So therefore, that may a sacrifice for the pleasure of the cows, Brahmins and Govardhana will begin. Will all the paraphernalia collected for worshipping Indra, let this sacrifice be performed instead. Lord Krishna is Go Brahmana Itaya, Go Brahmana Ita, the well-wishing friend of the cows and the Brahmins. Yeah, I read this first. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds that the blessings of the Brahmins give directly perceivable results, and therefore they should be worshipped as well as the cows and Govardhana. Sanatana Goswami says that the Brahmins are like Vishnu and thus worshipped. Says Shiva Goswami comments, this worship should be performed with materials meant for Indra's sacrifice, because the devatas were useless in supplying livelihood. In using the material of Indra's sacrifice, there would be no extra labor in gathering materials. This would even cause more anger in Indra. This would produce maintenance of traditional dharma. There would be no difference. They would be no different from previous actions, since only unsuitable traditions were rejected, while suitable traditions would be remained. So before Krishna is asked, is this scripture or is this in a social custom? Is it a tradition? And says yes, but this tradition, he rejected the worship of Indra. It's not good. The real suitable tradition is the worship of Govardhana. So Sanatana Goswami adds, Govardhana, the chief of mountains, is worshipable as confirmed by the scriptures and local custom. Let many different kinds of food be cooked, from sweet rice to vegetable soups. Many kinds of fancy cakes, both baked and fried, should be prepared, and all the available milk should be taken for this sacrifice. Can someone read text 27?
The Brahmanas who were learned in the Vedic mantras must properly invoke the sacrificial fire. Then you should feed the priests with nicely prepared food and reward them with cows and other gifts.
Yes. So Kavikarnapura comments, Lord Krishna is instructing, send messages to invite the Brahmins. Feed them sumptuously until they laugh and their faces beam with brilliant garlands. At that moment, the Brahmins will consider the heavenly storehouse of nectar as totally insignificant. Call the priest to conduct a fire sacrifice and to distribute cows and charity to the Brahmins. Those amongst you who are simple-hearted should just try to feed the Brahmins. Thus Lord Krishna really wanted to please the Brahmins and make them happy by serving them. Text 28.
After giving the appropriate food to everyone else, including such fallen souls as dogs and dog-eaters, you should give grass to the cows and then present your respectful offerings to Govardhana hill.
Yeah. So after giving appropriate food to everyone, including fallen souls as dogs and dog-eaters, so no one is excluded. Everyone is taking part of that great festival of Govardhana Hill. Can someone read from Krishna book, which is on the screen?
I'm reading, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada has a cutting comment in Krishna book. From the statement, we learn that although the cats and dogs have now become so important are not to be neglected, cow production is actually more important than production of cats and dogs. Another hint we get from this statement is that the Chandalas or the untouchables are also not to be neglected by the higher classes and should be given the necessary protection. Everyone is important, but some are directly responsible for the advancement of human society and some are only indirectly responsible. However, when Krishna consciousness is there, then everyone's total benefit is taken care of.
Thus, it is not that the untouchables were excluded from the sacrifice, they were also included of the sacrifice. Can someone read text 29, please?
Okay. After everyone has eaten to his satisfaction, you should all dress and decorate yourselves handsomely. Smear your bodies with sandalwood paste and then circumambulate the cows, the brahmanas, the sacrificial fires, and Govardhana hill.
Thus the parikram should take place after feeding the cows and others, after feeding Govardhana so many offerings. Shiva Goswami comments that not all the cows should be worshipped since they are unlimited in number, but only the main ones. Sanatana Goswami remarks that this activity of worshipping Govardhana does not give suffering but great joy. So text 30, someone can read?
This is my idea of father, and you may carry it out if it appeals to you. Such a sacrifice will be very dear to the cows, the brahmanas, and Govardhana hill, and also to me.
So Krishna says, yeah, if it appeals to you, my father, please do that. But his father will say, oh Krishna, let's do both. The Jagya for Indra and the worship of Govardhana. But then Krishna will say, no, Father, it takes too much time, preparing all these things. Use everything you have prepared for the Indra Jagya and use it for Govardhana and forget about this Indra. So this verse indicates clearly what is pleasing to the Supreme Lord, namely pleasing the Brahmins and the cows. There is no selfish motive in this sacrifice, only unmotivated loving devotional service to the Brahmins, the cows, and the Supreme Lord. This Krishna conscious approach is diametrically opposed to the modern scientific approach in which they simply want to exploit. In terms of lack of anxiety, peace, spirituality, there is no progress. It creates diseases, terrorists, natural disasters, etc. This was the end of Lord Krishna's speak, which is fluent and pleasing. And now we have from Nectar of Devotion. Can someone read that in Nectar of Devotion?
Of devotion, it is described that Lord Krishna has the quality of being fluent in all languages. Krishna's speech, which defeats all good qualities in the universe, is described in the following statement by Uddhav. The words of Krishna are so attractive that he can change immediately the heart of his opponent. His word can immediately solve all questions and problems of the world. Although he doesn't speak very long, each word contains volumes of meaning, which is very pleasing to the heart.
Yes, that is the bhava, the Vraja bhav. They want to taste Krishna's sweetness, that's supreme. So, can someone read text 31, please?
Sukadeva Goswami said, Lord Krishna, who is himself powerful time, decided to destroy the false pride of Lord Krishna. Indra. When Nanda and the other senior men of Vrindavana heard Sri Krishna's statement, they accepted his words as proper.
So, they accepted Krishna's words so who can oppose Krishna's desire? Because the whole world, the whole universe is created by his desire. That by his glance everything happens. He controls everything, everyone by his beauty, by his words. But Lord Indra, we will see in the next chapter, Indra will become very angry, and he will think Krishna is a mortal, one of these coward boys. It's just a talkative boy. So he makes that mistake there. That's one of the mistakes he makes. And that's, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that is in the next chapter. Text 10:25:3. Indra will say, just see how these coward men living in the forest have become greatly intoxicated. They have surrendered to an ordinary human being, Krishna. And thus they have offended the gods. That's his mistake. Can someone read text 32:33?
The cowherd community, they did all that Madhusudana had suggested. They arranged for the Brahmana to recite the auspicious Vedic mantras and using the paraphernalia they had been intended for Indra's sacrifice. They presented offerings to Govardhana hill and Brahmana with reverential respect. They also gave grass to the cows. Then, placing the cows, bulls, and calves in front of them, they circumambulated Govardhana.
So the residents of Vrindavan, they just wanted to love Krishna. That they are not concerned with this Indra or with this Karma Mimamsa philosophy, the philosophy Krishna spoke. They were not interested in it. They just wanted to love Krishna, because that's most important. That connects us with the Ladini Sakti, the highest spiritual energy, and they were devoted to Lord Krishna. That is the essential truth of all the other truths. They were most fortunate and intelligence. Shiva Goswami quotes from Hari Vamsa. Okay. Gokul was filled with great joy and shouts, generating bliss. Instruments blared and bulls and calves roared. The cows were joyful. There were lakes of yogurt, whirlpools of cream, and rivers of milk. Sanatana Goswami states they offered all items, as previously instructed by Lord Krishna to Govardhana hill. He quotes from Harivamsa, if you are merciful to the cows, then from today you should worship me. I am your first devata. I fulfill all desires and am most auspicious. By my power you drink the nectar of the cows. I will be auspicious for you, my devotees in all the forest. I will enjoy with you just as I do in the spiritual world, being pleased with all the celebrated cows headed by Nanda. I will give you great wealth. The Brahmins and cows, along with the calves, should circumambulate me, and it will be most satisfied. I will be most satisfied with this. Can someone read 34?
As the
As the-
beautiful implemented cowherd
Continue, Mother.
As the beautiful implemented cowherd ladies followed along, riding on wagons drawn by oxen, they sang the glories of Lord Krishna, and their songs mingled with the Brahmanas' chanting of benediction.
Thank you. The cowherd men and women went around the hill while joking bells on ox carts and getting in the cars while singing the glories of Krishna. So it's very joyful. Jiva Goswami quotes the Hari Vamsa. Can someone read here the Hari Vamsa from here till here?
The people of Gokula and the Lord of Vrindavan then began circumambulating Govardhan in order to worship it, surrounded by many bulls. The thousands of cows had golden crowns and bracelets with golden tipped horns, and moved quickly in joy. The cowherd follows them, protecting their treasures, decorated with tilak, red, yellow, and dark colored cloths, and peacock feathers with weapons in their hands, with peacock feathers in their hairs. They appeared splendid. Some rode on bulls, and others danced in joy. Others, moving quickly, herded the cows. The cowherd took their best bulls with them. The woman rode on the carts and went around Govardhana. The word cha is represented to indicate that both the man and woman participated in this important event without distinction. The women especially are described as singing the glories of Krishna in starting the sacrifice for Govardhan. The Brahmanas went along with the women.
Thank you. Can someone read from Krishna book? Here. Hare Krishna.
Hearing the melodies of the the cuckoos anxiously tried to learn the singing from them. Ears attained their purpose by perceiving these auspicious sounds. The cows were adorned with gold-plated horns, colorful silk cloths on their backs, pearl necklaces, and tinkling bells hanging from their necks. Seeing their mothers so ornamented, the cows jumped excitedly. Nanda Maharaja brought the necessary articles from his house to worship Govardhana hill. He initiated the puja by his respectfully offering padya water towards Giraja's feet. He made the Anukota offering, complete with powerful peaks, delighting all attendants. The peaks were rising in the middle of the hill, looked as a crow of white camphor. The multicolored cakes stood at the side of Anakut hill. At the base of the hill, there were clay pots full of milk, yogurt, and sweet rice. There were also colorful sabjis and cakes of dahi and soups.
Lakes of dal and soup. Lakes.
Dal and soups.
Wow.
Dal.
Now, the Nectar of Devotion offers a comment on this pastime on the subject of laziness in devotional service. Because Nanda Maharaj had instructed everyone you have to go around Govardhana hill. But some of the Brahmins said, we don't want really to do that. And we will hear now about that, of Nectar of Devotion. That can someone read this quote for Nectar of Devotion?
Yes, I continue, Prabhu. Then because of self-satisfaction or dislike of excessive labor, a person does not perform his duty. In spite of having the energy, he is called lazy. This laziness is manifested in ecstatic love of Krishna. For example, when some Brahmanas were requested by Nanda Maharaja to circumambulate Govardhana hill, they told him that they were more interested in offering benedictions than circumambulating Govardhana hill. This is an instance of laziness caused by self-satisfaction.
So this Brahman said that we don't go around Govardhana hill. Let us just stay here and offer blessings. That was the service. Brahmins would give blessings. That laziness, so that's how you can use laziness in devotional service. Everything can be used in Krishna service. That text 35, can someone read?
Hare Krishna. Krishna then assumed an unprecedented huge form of instilled faith in the cowherd men, declaring, I am Govardhana mountain. He ate the abundant offerings.
Yeah, Krishna expands himself and comes a form on top of Govardhana, and everyone offers obeisances, and Krishna is standing there also offering obeisances. Interesting. From Krishna book, let's hear Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, if someone can read.
When everything was complete,
everything was complete. Krishna assumed a great transcendental form and declared to the inhabitants of Vrindavana and that he was himself Govardhana hill in order to convince the devotees that Govardhana hill and Krishna are identical. The Krishna began to eat all food offered there. The identity of Krishna and Govardhana hill is still honored, and great devotees take rocks from the Govardhana hill and worship them exactly as they worship Krishna in the temple. The followers of the Krishna consciousness movement may therefore collect small rocks or pebbles from Govardhana hill and worship them at home because this worship is as good as deity worship.
So Krishna said before, you are doing this Indra Jagya, but did Indra ever appear in this Jagya? Did he? No Indra. But here Govardhana, he appears before you and eats all the food. That Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments. To increase the faith of all those present, Krishna assumed the form of the deity of the hill. He assumed a form with all senses which are like a second mountain on top of Govardhana. Shiva Goswami adds that by appearing on top of Govardhana, he directly enjoyed the offerings after they were offered. I have to check that. The Harivamsa says, seeing the form of the mountain decorated with brilliant garlands and sandalwood on top of the mountain, the cowards in joy approached it. Can someone read 36, please? Here.
Together the people of Braja, the Lord bowed to his form of Govardhana hill, thus in effect offering obeisances to himself. Then he said, just see how this hill has appeared in person and bestowed mercy upon us.
So it's clear that Lord Krishna expanded himself, appearing as Govardhana hill and simultaneously in his form as a child. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Krishna can take any form he desires, also the form of a snake who will kill those who disrespect the sacrifice. Okay, and that's expressed in the next verse, 37.
This Govardhana, assuming any...
Yeah, and Sumati.
This Govardhana hill, assuming any form he wishes, will kill any residents of the forest who neglect him. Therefore, let us pay our obeisances to him for the safety of ourselves and our cows.
Mm-hmm. So in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada is more specific. Can someone read that about the snakes?
In Krishna book, Krishna also declared at that meeting that one who neglects the worship of Govardhana Puja, as I am personally conducting it, will not be happy. There are many snakes on Govardhana hill, and persons neglecting the prescribed duty of Govardhana Puja will be beaten by these snakes and killed. In order to assure the good fortune of the cows and themselves, all people of Vrindavan near Govardhan must worship the hill as prescribed by me.
So, all devotees must worship Govardhana hill, otherwise they will be bitten by the snakes. But if you worship Govardhana hill, protected from snake bites. Yeah. The direct words spoken by that form are described in Harivamsa. What did he say? Say, if you are merciful to the cows, then from that day you should worship me. I am your first devata. I fulfill all desires and am most auspicious. By my power, you drink the nectar of the cows. It will be auspicious for you, my devotees, in all the forests. I will enjoy with you as I do in the spiritual world. It's already mentioned before. Yeah, that double. Being pleased with all the celebrated cows headed by Nanda, I will give you great wealth. The Brahmins and cows, along with the calves, should circumambulate me. I will be most satisfied with this, without a doubt. Can someone read 38?
The members of the cowherd community, having thus been inspired by Lord Vasudeva to properly execute the sacrifice to Govardhana hill, the cows and the Brahmanas returned with Lord Krishna to their village, Vraja.
Good. So, we went through the entire chapter with all the commentaries of our previous acharyas are there, the essence of it, the essence of Krishna book also. So we will stop here, and we have 5 minutes left. Any comment or question or someone?
Maharaj Krishna expanded himself in form of Govardhana hill. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So Govardhana hill is completely non-different from Krishna. So this is a very exceptional manifestation of Lord Krishna in form of a hill.
Yeah.
It attracts millions of devotees because this manifestation is very mesmerizing and very captivating in the sense that Krishna manifests in form of a hill by just demonstrating, orchestrating one of his important leelas by discouraging demigod worship.
Yeah.
Is it clear, Maharaj?
Yeah. Therefore, the Raghunadas Goswami he has written 11 verses, I forgot the name, glorifying Govardhana hill. It's very beautiful. Devotees who are situated near Govardhana in the morning, they get up and they do puja for Govardhana when the sun comes up. And they are singing these 11 verses of Raghunath Goswami. It's very sweet, that maybe I can try to get that for next time and we can begin with that. But it is, yes, Govardhana hill is Krishna. And it's a very nice form which stimulates our devotional sentiments in the mood of the residents of Vraja, the Vrajavasis. It's so exceptional that, yes. Good, and it's the most sweet festival. Yes, Mahaprabhu Kripa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Namaskaram. I have two questions. One question was that I was under the impression that whenever you go to Govardhan, number one, you are not supposed to climb on the Govardhan. Number two, you're not supposed to take any part of the stone of Govardhan with you. You're not supposed to take it. You're supposed to rever it, respect it, but not take it with you. That was the first thing which I was under the impression, but here I read it in the Krishna book. It is said that you can take it home and you can, pray. Second point was, Krishna says that if you do not pray to the Govardhan hill, then you will be bitten by snakes. Now, I have not, to my memory, on my limited understanding, come across Krishna saying anything negatively or Krishna trying to, in a way, caution anybody like this with death. Is it something which you have come across elsewhere also? These are two questions which I have.
Yeah, so the first question you asked, that, what was the first again?
First was that I was actually under the impression through the association of Vaishnavas only that we are not supposed to take any stone from Govardhan hill.
Yeah.
We are not supposed to do it. Yeah. But Prabhupada says that you can take home.
Yeah, generally we are not doing that. But still, some devotees take stones from Govardhan. We should not climb up Govardhan. That even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not. But anyway, that certainly not with shoes. That Govardhan is very sacred, and that of course, if everyone takes stones from Govardhan, soon not much is left. But I think it's a better practice to do that with the permission of the spiritual master. Mostly there are already so many Govardhan shilas in circulation, and devotees take a vow to worship, but then after some time it becomes difficult. They give the Govardhan shila to someone else. What Prabhupada mentioned here is that's what happens in practice. it doesn't mean it's the best practice just to take a stone there. That's my understanding. We should have permission from the spiritual master and so on. And your second question was about...
Krishna says in here that you will be bitten by a snake in case you do not pray to Govardhana. I have not come across anywhere where Krishna is saying anything negative in my limited understanding. So I just wanted to understand, is this is my understanding right, or is it my understanding wrong?
Krishna wants to say this is very important for the devotees. All devotees should do that. Otherwise you will be bitten by a snake. That's true.
Because even in the intensity of Mahabharata, Krishna never says anything negative to anybody, despite of the fact that so many people are getting killed and whatsoever. Krishna says on the philosophy, he never says anything negative. To this extent, is it an exception or something like this has been quoted elsewhere also?
I must say I don't know. That I have to think about that. Because Krishna said so many things.
Or is it in a jovial state? He is saying it in a jovial state, being in the ball room. Is he cutting a prank, something like that? Just wanted to understand.
Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in three instances, if you do that will happen, and if you don't it, then that will happen. So he makes a differentiation there in Bhagavad Gita, but this is I see this more in the framework of the pastime. It's just emphasizing, yes, you have to worship Govardhana. It's your duty to worship Govardhana. Otherwise, you might be bitten by a snake. But then the question is, those who are not worshipping Govardhana, will they be bitten by a snake? You can do some research in it. I'm not sure. But the intention why Krishna say that is maybe a little more important. That is emphasizing, yes, it's your duty. We must do it.
My point is, does in anywhere else, Krishna says of something of a similar intensity ever? Does he say so?
Yeah, I say...
Like Shishupal had insulted him 100 times, still he maintained his patience.
Yeah.
And when he killed him also, he was still very polite. Here also now, when you were reading the verses, and it was coming out nectar of devotion that, Krishna has been very, very polite, very nice.
Yeah.
He doesn't... So this looks a bit of an aberration.
Yeah, it's exceptional for sure. And I don't have an encyclopedic memory of to go to everything what Krishna went, so I cannot answer your question, but if something comes up, I'll let you know. Thank you very much. So we went to the first chapter. We have 4 more chapters to go. 25, 26, 27, 28, till Friday. That we'll see where we come. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Sai
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Hare Bol.
Thank you so much.